With Glovo, you have anything you want from your city in your hands. Kama unatamani ugali beef ama fried chicken, order Glovo ujaribu restaurant mpya. Tamu. Kama game inawaka na unataka drinks zaidi, order Glovo ushangilie timu yako. Na kama your little one amemess, data zimeisha, order Glovo and save the day. With Glovo, unaweza track order yako na kuongea na customer support, which is always available. Download the app and order anything you want from your city. We'll deliver.
Maisha ni mafupi, hivyo si vyema kumaliza muda mwingi katika malumbano. Hesabu baraka zako, wathamini rafiki zako na tabasamu ili udumishe amani.
Kupata maisha, bonyeza *811 *816 *811 *816 .
Third day of December. Happy holidays to you. My name is Shiksha, Arora, and welcome to KBC Channel 1. This is Easy Friday as I tell you the top stories tonight. Remember to use the hashtag Easy Friday if you'd like to interact with us on social media at KBC Channel 1 at Shiksha Arora. Now, September 13th, a day when President William Ruto was sworn in. And of course, he had two urgent issues that he had to tackle almost immediately, one being the appointment of the 6 judges that his predecessor, President Uhuru Kenyatta, had rejected. And of course, after that, he had to ensure that the NPS, the National Police Service, had some sense of financial autonomy. Of course, he did that very well. He handled it immediately. And what else has he managed to conquer? And what else has he managed not to do so well in these past 100 days? We will be looking at that and much more right here on Easy Friday tonight. But for now, it is time for the highlights.
Yes, it's been tough. We went through challenges, but 2022 election was a success as far as the commission is concerned.
The hot seat. IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati says working at the electoral body was the most challenging job ever in his career.
We are looking forward to this other cohort of KCSE, the Form 4 group, to do equally good.
KCSE examination concludes. Basic Education PS, Belio Kipsang hints that results will be out by 23rd January 2023. And President Ruto's 100 days in office. We evaluate the hits and misses of Kenya Kwanza's administration in the past 3 months. Welcome to tonight's live broadcast. My name is Shiksha Arora. Our sign language interpreter is Lucy Mora. And our top story tonight, Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Wafula Chebukati has termed his 6-year tenure at the institution a tough one. Chebukati says he went through challenges but termed the just concluded 2022 general election a success. The IEBC chair spoke on the sidelines of a post-election evaluation engagement with political parties and the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties. Take a look.
With less than a month to the end of his tenure, IEBC Chair Wafula Chebukati is racing against time to conclude a post-election evaluation report before his successor takes over.
Good morning.
Friday, He engaged the political parties and the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties in stock-taking on the challenges faced in the 2022 general election.
Party primaries need to be done in a manner that is more democratic so that we avoid this avalanche of people running to be independents. We're also looking at the issue of party nomination rules and parties keeping to their rules so that members can be nominated in a structured manner.
I think it's an area, either we look at the reform, do we really need pre-election coalitions? Or do we want to do post-election coalition? Because the people who make pre-election coalition, if the game changes after election, they all want to move.
Chebukati says delayed funding for the institution affects planning.
The 2022 election, we got funding in the last year of election. That made it very, very difficult for us to run programs.
The IEBC chair admits he didn't have an easy time at the office.
Yes, it's been tough. We went through challenges, but 2022 election was a success as far as the commission is concerned.
It has been a memorable occasion for me interacting with all of you. And we've had our ups and downs, but it was all for the good of our nation, I believe.
But what message does he have for his successor?
It's an office that requires a lot of listening, a lot of understanding, and more especially, one must have thick skin. And I know you guys have been part of the journey, and I believe I've made my contributions. I have no regrets, and I believe that whoever comes in should pick up from where we have laid ground.
More than 4 months since the 2022 general election, the electoral body is finalizing on its post-election evaluation report. Having termed the 2022 general election a success, the commission says challenges still abound, and the report that will be out in January will largely propose solutions and best practices. Kamche Menza for Easy Friday, Nairobi.
Now on to matters education. The government has assured parents and learners that the Form 1 selection will be conducted in a free, fair and transparent manner to enable students to study at the school of their choice. I beg your pardon. Now, speaking after leading an exercise of supervising the last paper of the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examination in Nairobi, Basic Education Principal Secretary Belio Kipsang revealed the KCSE examination results will be out by 23rd of January 2023. He, at the same time, defended the government's stand to allow students who were involved in exam malpractices to transit to the next level, saying every child has the right to education. Take a look.
The Ministry of Education has moved to assure parents, guardians and learners that it will do everything possible to ensure the selection of over 1.2 million students joining Form 1 next year is conducted in accordance with the law. Education Principal Secretary Belio Kipsang says no child will be disadvantaged in the exercise.
I know you are equally parents. Others may be anxious where their children will go in January for Form 1. We shall give you assurance that we shall be transparent, we shall be fair, and we shall do the right thing to make sure that each kid gets a school that they chose and they deserve to be there. That I can assure you.
He at the same time said their push to attain 100% transition policy is clear, even as he hit out at those poking holes on the decision by the Ministry of Education, allowing the 252 KCP candidates to transit to the next level.
So we cannot deny a child that constitutional right of transiting to the next level. So we only make sure that they don't benefit for what they never worked for, but they will move to the next level of learning, because that is what we gave ourselves. And honestly, these are two young children. At the age of 12, the age of 13, we shall be too punitive to make them not grow to the next level.
The PS has also said they will ensure a seamless process of implementing the presidential directive of domiciling the junior secondary to primary schools, while coming up with the guidelines early next year.
Colleagues at the Teacher Service Commission At the beginning of the year, we'll be going out to retool our teachers, preparing them to be able to handle the next level of learning of our learners.
He, however, urged parents to guard their children against exploitation this festive season. He lauded the 2022 KCP candidates for their exemplary performance, even as he exuded confidence. The same will be replicated with the KCSE candidate this year.
Even we are looking forward to this other cohort of KCSE, the Form 4 group, to do equally good. Because notwithstanding the short time, our teachers were able to prepare our children in a way that it was like a marathon. We shall be hanging around to make sure that we are prepared to let our children know their status before the schools open on 23rd.
Timothy Kipnusu for Easy Friday.
Now, President William Ruto took a conciliatory tone immediately after assuming office, opting to continue working with cabinet secretaries appointed by his predecessor, President Uhuru Kenyatta, until his appointees were vetted by the National Assembly. The head of state further retained Simon Chelugui as cabinet secretary, former Energy CS Monica Juma as his security advisor, former EAC cabinet secretary Adan Mohammed as one of his academic advisors, and a number of principal secretaries that served under the fourth regime. Now, the president and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua have led the charge in pushing for the fulfillment of their campaign pledges through the line ministries.
Sasa atakabidhiwa kitara cha kijeshi, yani presidential ceremonial sword.
From his inauguration speech, it was clear that President William Ruto was keen on bridging the divide from the general election. The president assigning his predecessor, retired President Uhuru Kenyatta, the role of championing for peace in Ethiopia and the Democratic Republic of Congo.
I commit on the peace initiatives in our country, in our region, including both in Ethiopia and in the Great Lakes region. I have asked my elder brother, President Uhuru Kenyatta, who has done commendable engagement with those regions, and he has graciously agreed to continue chairing those discussions on behalf of the people of Kenya.
And before his administration took shape, the president convened his first cabinet meeting.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning, Waziri. How are you? Teacher Abari. Farida, how are you?
Consisting of all cabinet secretaries appointed by his predecessor as he sought to showcase a united country. A departure from past transitions, the president appointed his team of ministers but continued to work with the old cabinet as he awaited for the National Assembly to vet and clear his appointees. After their formal appointment and taking oath of office, President Ruto invited the new cabinet and the outgoing cabinet for a luncheon. From the cabinet of the fourth administration, President Ruto retained the current cabinet secretary for micro, small and medium-sized enterprises and cooperatives, Simon Chelugui, who was serving as CS Labour. He also retained former Energy CS Monica Juma as a security advisor and former EAC Minister Adan Mohammed as one of his economic advisors. In his appointment of principal secretaries,
I, Chris Kipto.
I, Abubakar Hassan Abubakar.
President Ruto retained Peter Tum, Belio Kipsang, Chris Kipto, Charles Hinga, Julius Korir, and Harry Kimtai.
How are you, good people? Very well. Karibuni sana. Karibuni sana.
On implementation of campaign pledges, the President and his Deputy Rigathi Gachagua have been vocal in pushing the line ministries. The Hustler Fund, anchored under the Ministry of MSMEs, is among the campaign pledges actualized so far.
Tumekubaliana hii mpango ni bottom up. Lazima tuanze na chini ndio tuweze kutembea na kila mtu. Nataka niwashukuru wale wote waliohusika pamoja na sisi tukipanga hii mpango wa Hustler Fund.
Niulize wale ambaye si mahustlers wawachane na mambo ya hii fund, kwa sababu utaona jioni hii wajuaji wote watakuwa kwa ma TV wakidebate mambo ya hii fund, wakisema hii wakisema ile.
The President has convened meetings with the private sector, the Association of Manufacturers and the business community through the Kenyan National Chamber of Commerce.
This administration will work with you every step of the way until we redeem all the opportunities that are available for us as a country.
He has also directly engaged multinational tech companies on how to help Kenyans either seeking affordable credit or seeking better returns from their online jobs.
We're going to put up a legal framework that will assist startups like yourselves and others in the tech space to be able to scale up, and so that we can de-risk their ideas and we can make sure that whatever it is that they have in their mind, in ideas, in innovations, can be scaled up to become serious enterprises.
President Ruto is also personally leading the charge in the fight against the effects of climate change.
Planting a tree is therefore the first and most critical step in our journey towards ecological restoration, resilience enhancement, and sustainable development. Planting a tree should be the most urgent task for each one of us today and every other day.
John Jacob Curia, Channel 1.
Cheza Loto, shinda pesa moto.
Wachua mamili leo na Loto Moto. Cheza ukianzia na shilingi 50 na ushinde milioni 2 kila siku. Kucheza ni rahisi zaidi. Kwenye M-Pesa, chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number, weka 757070. Account number, andika neno Loto. Kisha, weka star. Alafu nambari yako ya simu. Kwenye amount, weka kiwango chochote cha pesa. Kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi shilingi 2000. Lipa na usubiri draw. Makinika papa hapa ili utimize ndoto zako na Loto Moto. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Mchezo huu ni wazi kwa watu walio na umri wa miaka 18 na zaidi. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLB. Cheza Loto Moto. Shinda pesa moto moto.
Dear Kenyans, the festive season is here. This is the time we travel to other parts of the country to see our families and our friends and to enjoy the Christmas season and the New Year. Sadly, this is also a season that over the years we've witnessed a lot of road accidents and road carnage. And we must be mindful of our civic duty, driving without influence of alcohol. And also, there is a responsibility on the part of the passengers to stop drivers who are either driving beyond the speed limit or driving when they are drunk or driving badly. Usalama barabarani ni jukumu letu sisi sote. Tumakinike barabarani, fika salama. Nawatakia Krismasi njema na mwaka mpya wenye fanaka. Asanteni.
This message is sponsored by the European Union under the NTSA Usalama Barabarani program.
With Glovo, you have anything you want from your city in your hands. Kama unatamani ugali beef ama fried chicken, order Glovo ujaribu restaurant mpya. Tamu.
Amy is your child.
Why didn't she tell me?
That you didn't want us both, me and mommy.
Sleeping with different girls every day of the week, partying your life away? That's what you call perfect?
What is booty call?
With Glovo, unaweza track order yako na kuongea na customer support, which is always available. Download the app and order anything you want from your city. We'll deliver.
Welcome back to this live broadcast. Moving on. President William Ruto introduced a new structure of government, creating a position of Prime Cabinet Secretary and naming Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi to the portfolio. President Ruto, who further made changes to ministries and introduced cabinet-level portfolios, opted to work with 51 principal secretaries under different state departments, unlike his predecessor Uhuru Kenyatta, who worked with at least 44 principal secretaries. Ben Chumba now has more details.
Mr. President, please repeat after me. I,
William Samoei Ruto.
14 days after his inauguration, President William Ruto named Musalia Mudavadi as Prime Cabinet Secretary in the new structure of cabinet by the Kenya Kwanza administration.
That office is probably the most senior office after the office of the President and Deputy President.
In the new structure of cabinet outlined by President Ruto, the Prime Cabinet Secretary assists the President and his Deputy in the coordination and supervision of government and state departments. The Prime Cabinet Secretary is also required to liaise with the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government, oversee government's projects, chair and coordinate government's legislative agenda, facilitate interministerial coordination, and coordinate and supervise evaluation of government's policies and programs. The cabinet docket was also changed by the President to bring on board the arid and semi-arid lands to the East African Community docket. The diaspora component was added to the Foreign Affairs docket. In the lands and housing docket, the head of state brought back the urban development component, which had been shelved in the second term of former President Uhuru Kenyatta. Under the information communication docket, President Ruto added the digital economy component. President Ruto then took the youth docket from gender and added it to the sports and arts ministry. To the cooperatives docket, the head of state added micro, small and medium enterprises MSMEs docket. The President further created cabinet-level portfolios and names Harriet Chigai as the Women Rights Agency advisor and Ambassador Dr. Monica Juma as his advisor on national security. President William Ruto retained two cabinet secretaries who served in the Uhuru Kenyatta administration. Simon Chelugui and Ambassador Monica Juma were appointed to serve as CS for cooperatives and advisor to the National Security Council, respectively.
The team that will work with me and my two brothers and the entire cabinet in making sure that we implement the program and the plan upon which the people of Kenya voted for us.
Joseph Kinyua, who was appointed by President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2013, handed over the mantle of head of public service to Felix Koskei.
I, Felix Kiptarus Koskei, having been appointed Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service.
bringing to an end one of the most illustrious careers in public service.
I thank you and your predecessors for according me the privilege to serve in 4 successful administrations, notably the 2nd, 3rd, 4th administration and in your position. It has been a profound honor and a humbling journey. I'm immensely grateful that I was accorded the rare opportunity to serve Kenya and to serve the great men chosen by the people of Kenya to be the president of this country and lead it.
I, Raymond Vicky Ojwang Omolo, being called on to exercise the function of Principal Secretary.
Unlike his predecessor Uhuru Kenyatta, who worked with 44 principal secretaries, Ruto opted to work with 51 under different state departments.
Except as may be required for the due discharge of my duties as such Principal Secretary. So help me God.
President Ruto retained 3 PSs from his predecessor's administration, among them Belio Kipsang, who took over the State Department for Basic Education, and Peter Tum, who is at the State Department for Medical Services under the Ministry of Health.
At the onset, I want to promise you my support, my prayers, so that you can discharge your responsibilities, and it is my belief that you will do so to the best of your ability, knowing that as you serve humanity, you serve God.
Now, President William Ruto's perceived relationship with the judiciary has been hailed and also criticized in equal measure. In his first executive order after taking over as the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya on September 13th, President Ruto swore in 6 judges his predecessor, President Uhuru Kenyatta, had declined to appoint. He also pledged an additional 5 billion shillings to the judiciary to help in operations, including hiring of more judicial staff and increasing court stations countrywide.
13th of September 2022, President William Ruto took the mantle from his former boss, Uhuru Kenyatta. In his inaugural speech as president, Ruto committed to signing his first executive order as president.
To further demonstrate my commitment to the independence of the judiciary, this afternoon I will appoint the 6 judges already nominated for appointment to the Court of Appeal.
Hours later, he saw in the 6 judges at State House. President Ruto on the 5th of December presided over the swearing-in of more judges gazetted by the Judiciary Service Commission.
Lawrence Mugambi.
I, Diana Rachel Kavedza.
I, John Mugwemi Chigiti.
This coupled with attendance of the annual State of the Judiciary and Administration of Justice report in December, where the head of state promised to work closely with the judiciary and termination of court cases of persons perceived to be close to government, made headlines. The president on December the 5th this year took the opportunity to clear the air in regards to perceived judiciary executive dalliance.
I know there is maybe a discussion as to why I am appearing in too many of the functions of the judiciary. I think they can confirm to you that I have never put a telephone call to anybody to ask them to do nothing. My support for the judiciary is so that they can effectively deliver justice to the people of Kenya. Period.
Speaking during the launch of the inaugural report of the National Council on Administration of Justice in Nairobi, the president made key pledges to the judiciary, saying the support will be key in the delivery of timely and efficient justice, adding that his administration will unlock financial resources to facilitate access to justice throughout the country in terms of infrastructure and personnel.
the efficacy of our justice sector, whether and how we uphold the rule of law and administration of justice, is key to the performance of the institutions of our political economy.
The head of state reiterated that he will continue working closely with the judiciary for the benefit of all Kenyans. Seraphine Nairobi for Channel 1 News.
In other news, Nairobi leads in the uptake of the Hustler Fund, having recorded 1.4 million subscribers who have borrowed over 1.14 billion shillings since the rollout of the fund 24 days ago. Only 5% of those registered under the Hustler Fund are aged above 60, an indication that the fund is more popular with the younger generation. As of today, 10.67 billion shillings had been disbursed to 17 million registered borrowers who have repaid 3.55 billion shillings. Here's that story.
Thanks to my creator, pull up the
In the run-up to the 2022 general election, various candidates rolled out manifestos detailing what they were to do to uplift the economy and the living standards of Kenyans.
We will waive regulatory and other licensing fees for new youth-led innovations.
President William Ruto's successful campaign was pegged on the bottom-up economic scale, under which the promise to support small businesses and startups was domiciled.
Kwa mara ya kwanza tunataka kuweka pesa kwa biashara ya mwananchi wa kawaida hapa. Ninyi mnaofanya kazi hapa madukani, wale wanafanya kazi sokoni, hata hawa watu ya bodaboda, tumesema mwaka huu pesa ya serikali tutaweka bilioni 50.
President Ruto rolled out the Hustler Fund, a digital financial inclusion initiative designed to unlock capital access to individuals and small businesses in less than 100 days in office.
By introducing easily accessible and affordable credit through the Hustler Fund and other funds, as well as the intentional de-risking of agriculture to attract younger farmers, are some of the interventions we are going to propose in the medium term.
Pia Deputy President may go through. Dear customer, your loan limit is cash 1,600.
So, His Excellency, Hustler Fund nimeshukuru sana.
Amid the pomp and flair, critics questioned the viability and sustainability of the fund backed by a backlog of blacklisted credit defaulters.
Sasa kila mtu utakuwa na nafasi ya kukopa pesa kiasi kidogo, lakini vile sasa utatoka hapo kwa shilingi 1,000 ama 2,000 ni bidii yako.
I want to ask our people to ignore the retrogressive call by the Azimio characters not to pay money they have borrowed from the Hustler Fund.
The latest data indicates that the Hustler Fund had disbursed 10.67 billion shillings to 17 million Kenyans who registered under the fund. The borrowers have repaid 3.55 billion shillings and saved 533 million shillings.
And it is not much, but when you borrow repeatedly, it's a lot of money. Borrow the 1,000, invest, pay back, borrow another one, invest, pay back.
The loan repayment period is 14 days, meaning if one borrows 1,000 shillings, they receive 950 shillings, while the 50 shillings is transferred into the savings scheme. The savings scheme is split in 70% for pension and 30% for savings. Under this, the government targets to mobilize 30 billion shillings in savings from the Hustler Fund in the next 12 months.
Borrow money and do business, and keep on borrowing and paying. Keep on borrowing and paying. And keep on building your stock. Keep on expanding your business.
Defaulters risk higher interest, freezing of their accounts and seizure of accrued savings. The Hustler Fund is popular among the younger demographic, with only 5% of borrowers aged 60 and above.
The ones that the repayment rates bottom 5, Tana River 34.3%, and Garissa 32.4%.
Nairobi, Kiambu, Nakuru, Machakos and Meru are top 5 fund beneficiaries, while Lamu, Mandera, Isiolo, Marsabit and Samburu are in the bottom 5.
Ile ingine ambayo tuna launch Februari mwaka ujao ni ile sasa ya group ya sako. Mkiwa kundi ya watu 10, 15, 20, 50 tutawapatia pesa kama kikundi.
The government intends to roll out the second phase of the Hustler Fund, targeting 3 million small businesses who will access between 100,000 to 2.5 million shillings. Regina Manyara reporting for KBC Channel 1.
Wachua mamili leo na Loto Moto. Kucheza ni rahisi zaidi. Kwenye M-Pesa, chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number, weka 757070. Account number, andika neno Loto, kisha weka star. Alafu nambari yako ya simu. Kwenye amount, weka kiwango chochote cha pesa, kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi shilingi 2,000. Lipa na usubiri draw. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Mchezo huu ni wazi kwa watu walio na umri wa miaka 18 na zaidi.
The earth has grown old with its burden of care. But at Christmas, it's always a young world. The heart of the jewels burns lustrous and fair, and it's in soul full of music breaks the air. When the song of angels is sung silently in the night. That's right.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round young virgin mother and child, holy infant so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Silent night, holy night, darkness flies, all is light, shepherds hear the angels sing, hallelujah, hail the King, Christ the Savior is born, Christ the Savior is born.
Once again.
Christ the Savior is born.
Enjoy the fun things in life. For one day, you look back and realize that they were the big things. Merry Christmas. And a Happy New Year.
Sleep in heavenly peace.
Abiro dala kigani. Nairobi nyaka Kisumu kani mujonya kama mlito cheka Spain toka jo.
Ma, osechopo. Yani tinde Andrea wadwa. En wende dalagi.
Mama uko winj dholuo.
Nyalego ka.
Awaro.
Nyara, arwaki dala naka.
Mago gik piny bwana. Kikanga winj wach moro ni, oh, dimoro ok cheme udi.
Guy, namanisha internet.
Raura.
Ai! Diwach Kiswahili kucho. Nene godhi kucho.
Upatie mtoto ya ng'ombe maji.
Sasa tutafanyaje?
Fanyaje okoka. Okinyal nindo gi dhako e dala na kaendi. Dipo kikwongo na golo kodhi.
Onge gimodhi timo, wanodhi mana nindo.
Tom.
Fundisha mtoto wako adabu.
Owacho nango?
Mimi natuka baba Tiff, natuka mama. Wewe natuka kokorio koko.
Dongoro pesa na uteni.
Traffic police nyalo katama kana tingo chambo katero Nairobi.
Ohalo kriwe watu siepa. Kaginyalo li pesa sani to kioliwa. Olgiki miwa mundior na sani bwana.
Mimi kisafatia nyakwara yangu.
Mama, adwani mundi dhi bed piny mos. Mundi go ikwan. Nigi kipande jo Nairobi okelo. Pesa di. To gik mimiyo gidhigo to pesa di.
Mayo janaroba.
Son bandidas los recuerdos que me llevan a soñar. Bandidas las que un día aprendieron a amar.
Christmas is new clothes, new shoes. Mukifika ni chai na mkate zimepakwa siagi. Hakuna mambo mengine.
And one of the things that I remember about Christmas, jacaranda trees were always in bloom.
In bloom.
So you see, jacaranda trees, purple, Christmas.
Mnaambiwa ule mtu anataka kula aende akaoge kwanza. Na mnamuogi kwa bafu, hakuna bafu. Mnaoga pale nje kwa nyasi.
Na hizi zile karai za chuma.
Za chuma bwana. Na maji ni baridi. Na wewe kwa vile unataka kula, unaenda kufanya haraka pichi hata ukirudi madhara kwa hebu toa hiyo ukitoa mgongo haina maji.
Haina maji. Those chapos were thick.
They were
like
so thick. It looked like
it's like a flat dough.
Welcome back. Now, the Kenya Kwanza administration from the onset was keen on putting the opposition at its rightful place, the ruling party insisting that the opposition should do its role of putting the government in check. The ruling party was also keen on having numbers in the National Assembly and Senate, and sure enough, Kenya Kwanza ended up with the majority of legislators in both houses after a section of independents joined the ruling party, smarting from the political maneuvers and now ready to work from the opposition corner. The Azimio la Umoja took its role with big strides. Some of the issues which the opposition has tackled head-on include the reintroduction of genetically modified maize and the renewed clamor for a constitutional review to include the office of the opposition leader. Here's that story.
During his campaigns and assumption of office, President William Ruto has maintained that his administration will be open to opposition that is aimed at keeping the government in check. The Azimio la Umoja appears to have taken up the role after the previous week opposition in the Jubilee administration. The genetically modified maize debate has for months taken center stage, with Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga criticizing the government for authorizing its importation without public participation.
We ask Kenyans to oppose this move and to totally reject any GMO foods should they ever enter the Kenyan market.
Tapiga makoti tukishindwa na kujilisha sababu ya GMO. Mkulima wa kawaida atapata pesa ya kwenda kununua kwa duka. Watu wetu tuseme tunataka sheria ifuatwe, tuwe tunahusishwa na maneno ambayo ni ya maisha yetu.
Raila demanded that the government provides the research relied on before the authorization. The recent clamor for constitutional amendment also rubbed the opposition the wrong way. With Azimio la Umoja allied leaders, including Rarieda Member of Parliament Otiende Amolo, faulting the proposed process of involvement of Parliament as opposed to a referendum.
Parliament is the wrong body to change a constitution, because over the years we had a very good constitution from Lancaster, but it was messed up by Parliament. A constitution is something that must go to the people, for the people to decide before it is taken to Parliament.
The question of introduction of the leader of opposition necessarily affects the composition of Parliament. Anything that affects the composition of Parliament must go to referendum.
The proposal is to pave way for the establishment of the official office of the opposition leader.
We need a strong opposition to make sure that everything that we intend to have in a country runs smoothly and with the budgetary issues that we might feel around it, that they are handled in the right way.
Azimio la Umoja has termed the move as hypocritical, as the president initially opposed a similar proposal in the Building Bridges initiative. The Raila Odinga-led Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party at Kamukunji grounds also presented a list of demands they want fulfilled by President William Ruto's administration.
Nataka vijana na kina mama wasimame imara. Wasimame imara, watetee uhuru ambaye tunapigania sisi kama Wakenya wote. Tunataka kuona kama hali ya maisha ya Wakenya inarudi sawasawa. Yale mpango yote ambayo tuliahidi nyinyi iko kwa store.
They accuse the Kenya Kwanza administration of failing to meet its pledge to bring down the cost of living within 100 days in office.
Ilikuwa tunafikiria wako na mpango, lakini hawana. Na nyinyi wenyewe mtaendelea kutuambia yale kama yale tumepata leo, ili pia tuweze kuhakikisha kwamba hii serikali ya William Ruto tumeiweka katika balances na checks ili waweze kuwatumikia Wakenya kama vile waliahidi.
We need to put this government on check. We need to look at the promises they made during the electioneering period and the campaigns. We need to ensure that they're delivering on their mandate as promised. And we also need to ensure that that is not affecting the coffers that we have as a country and taking us into deeper debts that they committed to resolve as a coalition.
Among other demands by Azimio included the reinstatement of the Kazi Mtaani project. Azimio also decried what they termed as collapse of the justice system following the drop-in of cases of highly placed suspects.
I want to encourage our opposition to move into this space first of accepting the loss in an election, then working on more diplomatic ways of handling issues that might develop as a country.
Nancy Okware, Easy Friday.
With Glovo, you have anything you want from your city in your hands. Kama unatamani ugali beef ama fried chicken, order Glovo ujaribu restaurant mpya. Tamu. Kama game inawaka na unataka drinks zaidi, order Glovo ushangilie timu yako. Na kama your little one amemess, dadapa zimeisha, order Glovo and save the day. With Glovo, unaweza track order yako na kuongea na customer support, which is always available. Download the app and order anything you want from your city. We'll deliver.
Los recuerdos que me llevan a soñar, bandidas las que un día aprendieron a amar.
The holiday season is here with us. You have been so amazing. In fact, you are the reason why we are who we are today, the great KBC. We've also put the best foot forward to bring you the best, not only in news, but also in programming. And as we get into 2023, we're looking forward to a more promising year. And happy holidays to you and yours. My name is Irene Mchuma Udim. Happy holidays once again.
Welcome to 888bet Casino, a world of winning opportunities 24 hours a day. Choose from thousands of games across live casino, table and slots, including favorite titles Burning Classics, Wolf Gold, and The Amazing Aviator. But hurry, 1 million is to be given away before 31st December. Join the thousands of winners playing 888bet Casino daily. Play today on www.888bet.co.ke. 888bet Casino, made to win bigger.
Now, top in business, the National Treasury has allowed importation of duty-free sugar in efforts to reduce the price of the sweetener. In a Gazette notice, National Treasury Cabinet Secretary Professor Njuguna Ndungu has allowed traders to ship in 100,000 tons of sugar over the next 3 months.
Consumers have been forced to spend more on sugar due to high prices as Kenya grapples with a 200,000 metric tons deficit. This has been occasioned by a global scarcity that saw Kenya only import 80,000 tons of sugar out of a total COMESA quota of 135,000 tons, as African countries prefer to sell their produce to the European Union due to better prices. To stabilize sugar prices in the country, the National Treasury has zero-rated sugar imports. National Treasury Cabinet Secretary Professor Njuguna Ndung'u has allowed traders to ship in 100,000 metric tons of sugar for 3 months. The import duty waiver is expected to considerably reduce the landing cost of the sweetener that currently stands at 83,631 shillings per ton. Benson Rioba for Easy Friday.
Now, former Transport and Infrastructure Cabinet Secretary Engineer Kamau has been appointed the chairperson of the National Health Insurance Fund, NHIF, for a period of 3 years. Engineer Kamau is among 7 people who have been appointed by President William Ruto to chair boards of several parastatals.
Engineer Michael Kamau has made a comeback in the public service after being appointed to chair the Board of National Health Insurance Fund, NHIF, to replace former Kikuyu Member of Parliament Lewis Nguyai. In the Gazette notice, Nguyai's appointment was revoked. Acknowledging his 3-year appointment, Engineer Kamau thanked President William Ruto and said he is aware of the challenges facing NHIF and his focus will be on ensuring that every Kenyan access affordable health care. Also appointed on a 3-year term are Lieutenant General Retired Walter Ndaria Koipaton as the chairperson of the Kenya Wildlife Service. General Retired Julius Karangi will chair the board of the National Council for Population and Development to replace David Ngugi, whose appointment has been revoked. General Retired Karangi's appointment as the chairperson of the board of the National Social Security Fund has been revoked and his place taken up by Anthony Muriuki Munyiri. At the Jodhamo Development Company, Walter Nyambati is the new board chairperson, while Job Chichir will chair the board of Kenya Forest Service. At the Kenya Pipeline Company, Rita Okude's appointment as the chair of the board has been revoked and Faith Boynet appointed as her replacement.
Now, insurance companies settled 1.79 million claims lodged by policyholders for the quarter ended 30th September 2022, a 9.6% compared to 1.98 million claims paid in the previous quarter. According to data from the Insurance Regulatory Authority, the total number of claims actionable during the quarter went up in the general insurance business. Take a look.
Claims lodged in the insurance industry between July and September 2022 declined by 12% to 1.8 million compared to 2 million reported in the second quarter of 2022. General business claims were the highest, followed by long-term insurance claims. The Insurance Regulatory Authority report reads, and I quote, "In the period under review, the claims payment ratio for general liability claims increased to 10.6% from 7.4% in quarter 2. The claims payment ratio for general non-liability claims increased to 75.5% in quarter 3 2022 from 75.3% in quarter 2 2022. End of quote. During the quarter, claims paid declined by 9.6% to 1.7 million compared to 1.98 million paid in the quarter 2 2022. However, claims paid in relation to total number of claims actionable during the quarter went up in the general insurance business. Long-term insurance claims reported hit 106,121 compared to 99,678 reported in the second quarter of 2022. The claims payment ratio for the long-term insurance business, however, went down to 73.3% compared to 75.7% observed in the previous quarter. During the period, 101,329 long-term insurance business claims were paid compared to 104,574 in quarter 2 2022. Wairi Mujenga for Easy Friday.
Meanwhile, the National Taxpayers Association is proposing that the government shifts the public spending on health from high-level health facilities to lower-level facilities to enhance coverage. National Tax Association National Coordinator Irene Otieno further says there is need for targeted interventions to enhance access to post-primary education for low-income groups.
These issues that the tax expenditure report is bringing out are not entirely new. There are some issues that government has known for long. We keep saying that the economic and the special economic zones create employment, but some civil society players have been asking what is the quality of the employment that is being offered in those places. When you look at flower farms, you look at some of the companies there, and you hear the stories from the women there who work there. And you look at labor relations, issues that seem to be going against our Employment Act.
The importance of a government agenda is because then we deal with issues like lobbying that she mentioned. So that even if someone is coming and asking for an incentive or an exemption, we have a plan and we say that this is what we want as a country, this is what we have planned. Is what you're asking for aligned to that? Or is it something then that you should consider in another period, in another season?
Let's now delve into matter sports. My name is Karen Kibet. The Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba has vowed to champion Busia County issues at the national level to ensure the region is not left behind in matters development. Namwamba was speaking during his homecoming ceremony in Chase Bay.
Your government will achieve so much if we work together between the national government and the county government. Na mimi nakuhakikishia, as you have said, I want to be your voice in cabinet. You have sat in cabinet. You know how important it is to have a voice inside cabinet. I want to be your voice in cabinet. I want to be your advocate in the national government. Anything that touches your county government, I will do it.
The opportunities available for you to exploit your potential in this region are equally similar to the opportunities for economic development that we have in CI. And I would appeal to you that moving forward, we join forces, work together so that we enjoy economies of scale for purposes of comparative advantage so that we exploit our full potential as the next region.
Sisi tukishikana kama kitu moja, sisi hapa kwa county tunafanya yetu. At the national government we have representatives and we integrate this thing. We'll make this count.
Tusker FC remain at the summit of the FKF Premier League as the top tier takes a break for the Christmas and New Year holidays. Tusker have so far registered 5 wins in 5 matches played so far as they seek to defend the title for a 3rd consecutive season.
After a 2-1 win over KCB on Thursday, defending champions Tusker showed their ability in defending the title for the 3rd time in a row as they lead the standings on 15 points. Nzoia Sugar are 2nd, while Kakamega Homeboys sit 3rd on 13 and 11 points respectively. Mathare United, Vihiga and Wazito FC take the bottom 3 positions, having played only 1 match each this season. Meanwhile, Kibera Black Stars and Shabana FC remain at the summit of the National Super League as the 2nd tier also takes a break. Migori FC are 3rd on 7 points, while Fortune Sacco, Mombasa Elite and Silibwet FC occupy the bottom 3 positions. The actions resumes on January 6th with 9 matches lined up across the country. Daniel Mwendwa, Sports.
Thank you, Dan, for that report. And in EPL, just as Tusker FC remain at the summit of the Kenya Premier League, it's sad as a Manchester United fan that Arsenal still top the EPL table. Anyway, more than 70 youthful players have enrolled in Kawangware-based Joy Love Academy football institution that nurtures and promotes grassroots talents. According to Coach Joyce Achieng, the academy was formed to not only identify the talents, but also to help in changing and transforming their lives through football. The academy includes various age categories, including under 10, under 13, and under 20 teams, which take part in county and regional leagues. She says lack of adequate adequate finances is one of her biggest challenges and has appealed to potential sponsors to help in achieving the project's vision, which is to expose the talents both nationally and internationally.
Na wasichana. Ile kitu iko shida kwanza, tuseme hapa Kenya kila kitu ni pesa. Na ukiwa na kosa ukiangalia sana hii community ilikuwa imekataliwa. Tungekuwa tunafanya academy kubwa kwa sababu ukiangalia hata niko na vifaa kidogo tu za kufanya, lakini shida ni hawa watu wa community mimi nikuja kuwasaidia kwa maana waache uwizi. Viatu ndio tuko nazo sana na shida. Kama tungepata mdhamini wa kutupea hizo viatu tu, lakini vitu kama bibs tunashukuru Mungu UEFA ilituletea na kulingana na kazi yangu mzuri. Hawa walinitafuta wenyewe si kuwatafuta, wakaniletea hizo bibs, wakaniletea hizo balls kadhaa. Naomba Mungu sana next year 2023 nianze na baraka. Niende pale kwenye Mpape alianzia, pia kuna mtu anajaribu kuniconnect pale. Tumejaribu kuongea na Arsenal Wenga, niko na fan host Kenya kwa ajili ya Tegla Rurupe, niko nafanya kazi huko na yeye pia. Ni mama amekuwa akinijenga na naona watu sana.
Lingia Joy Love last year but one. Mimi nasema kocha amenisaidia. Siko najua nini, siko najua neno la Mungu, siko najua kufungua Bible. Sasa kocha kanifunza, tena kanifunza kucheza namba 10 na namba 11. Sina team, sasa tuko county league, alafu sasa ndaka iende nini regional, alafu sasa ndio tinge county league. Unaweza kuwa ataka Messi. Messi ako na confidence ya ball, ana uoga, tena anajua kuchenga, kupiga pass.
I will like our category. I will just say that may God help us so that we may reach Premier League, because we already have a record in Division 1. We have played there, and now we went back because of resources to start playing regional league. But we are happy because we have been unbeaten all year round.
Beautiful and amazing job done right there by Coach Joyce Achieng. Those are all the sports stories we had for you tonight. My name is Karen Kibet. Happy holidays. I now hand you over to my colleague Shiksha Arora, also dressed in red, signifying happy holidays.
Yep, and when we wear red, you know Christmas is just around the corner. So wishing you and your loved ones Merry Christmas from the entire team right here of Easy Friday. Asante sana for your viewership this entire year. You have been very loyal to us. We appreciate your support, your love, and of course, we'll do even better next year to keep you entertained. So that's it from me. I'll see you next week, same time, same place. Don't go too far, because coming up next, Cole Jax takes over with unlimited music. Friday Fever is going to be on. He'll be playing the best of 2022 tracks right here, and of course keeping you entertained and just getting the weekend vibes up. Shiksha Arora signing out, and not forgetting our sign language interpreter Lucy Mara. Good night.
It's gotta be DJ Cole Jax.
Bad chicken, do you already know? Back to back, baby, you killing the show. Worldwide is international. Switch it up on them, hitting on the low. Nobody messing with the flow, stop it. And you know she got a hold. Worldwide is international. When you control me, control me. Oh, when you control, na na na. When you control me. Worldwide is international. Dimension. You got me in another dimension. Why lie? Another dimension. You got me in another dimension. Why lie? Dimension. You got me in another dimension. Why lie? Another dimension. You got me in another dimension. Why lie? You wanna change your yeah. If you wanna chill with a winner, pull up on a nopal, ukikuonyeshe maisha, yeah. Nikahakikisha usijisubabiza. Anywhere you wanna be, baby, I'm ready to go.